Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Geek-Stew. And today, guys, welcome back to another episode of Ctrl, the Speedcast. I am your co-host, Ike Isaacs, and I am joined with the only man on this earth who has never, ever, ever laid eyes on another woman.
Hold on, another?
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to be insensitive. I meant a woman.
I'm full of rage. In a calm and cool manner.
Anyways, I'm totally joking. But I'm joined with the one, the only, the insatiable Salsa Shark. How are we going? How's it going today, man?
The insatiable. How do I go from being never see a woman to basically unable to control my urges?
I don't know, man.
I'm a monster.
You really are. You fucking monster. Anywho, so welcome everybody to the podcast. Hope you guys, actually last week's episode did pretty good. So I think everybody really enjoyed hearing about Salsa's essentially condemned house that he lives in.
Not condemned by the city, more condemned by God.
Right. Condemned by God. Oh, that's amazing. But last week was a lot of fun. We got to make some jokes and have some fun talking about his house. This week, we're going to talk about some more like pop culture stuff and then maybe sprinkle in some other stuff. Well, first and foremost, I wanted to ask you, Salsa. Last week, I did a video on the channel about Skinwalkers. And I wanted to ask you if you remembered. So I told a story. Now, obviously, I don't think it was a Skinwalker. I think it was maybe like some like crackhead. But like, remember? So we went to our live. We didn't live there, but I had a relative that in Salsa, and we went into the woods, and we thought that we saw a person.
Talking about trying not to overshare on personal information.
So
Iande?
yeah, yes, that's who. You got it. So yeah, we were at their house, and we were
In
out in the
that
middle of the
case,
woods.
yes, absolutely. That was without a doubt a Skinwalker.
I just remember hearing like these really weird noises, like from we thought we saw something moving, and like I don't know if I'm just like misremembering it, but like I told the story on the episode, and I mean the episode did all right, but like I was talking about Skinwalkers, and like I was thinking to myself, I mean, I guess it could have been a Skinwalker. I mean, I don't know, I didn't know what Skinwalkers were back then, but I just remember I thought, what was
She
that?
knew more than she was letting on, you know? She would not let us go outside near the woods unless she was right there with us. So she knew there was something in those woods she didn't want us seeing.
But because I remember she wasn't there at the time when we went out there, because it was the other person that was watching us, and we happened to go out in the woods, and I guess fate would have it that we ran into some weird creature, and it was making weird noises at it. And I remember we ran back to the house, and that we'll call him Steph. We'll call this person Steph. Steph was inside the house, and I remember she was like, hey, why are you guys all scared? And we told them, and then like they thought we were lying about it.
You know, as kids do, they just go into the woods, come back screaming, and say, "Oh yeah, there's a person in the woods." Not really.
So, but yeah, so for anybody who watches the other videos on the channel, there's a little bit of corroboration with my story from the one, the only, the Salsa Shark. So yeah, that was just such a strange occurrence, and like I told my wife about it, I told Kayla about it, and she was like, that is kind of weird, but she's like, I'm sure it was just like a deer or something. I said, I hope it was a fucking deer.
You know, if you're mistaking deers for human, then that's a Skinwalker mid-transformation.
That's right, dude. Honestly, like I believe that Skinwalkers are real. Like I have no doubt in my mind that Skinwalkers are real. And here's the reason why. Maybe they're not like some. I don't know what they are. Honestly, I don't know if they're like what the Navajo thought that they were, like because they thought that they were like basically like witches. right? That had the ability to use magic to have these powers. So like I don't know if I necessarily believe that per se, but like I believe that there are like creatures that we don't understand that live out in the world. So definitely interesting for sure.
You know, who's to say? If the
Right.
Navajo talked about it in their mythology, it's probably somewhat loosely based on a true story.
That's kind of like what I thought too. I was like, at least to some degree, there it's got to be based on something. Whatever that something was, I don't know because I wasn't there.
Are you sure about that?
I mean, I don't think I was there, or maybe I am. Maybe I was there. Maybe I'm just like reincarnated a few times since then.
Dude, if you were reincarnated, you definitely come from some, I don't know, dumbass lineage. Like the fucking king of Sweden who ate himself to death. No offense. I,
No
I
offense
ain't
to
saying you're
Sweden.
fat. I'm
Yeah,
just saying you have about as much common sense.
shut the fuck up. Anyways, so but yeah, so for anybody who's interested, go check out that video about Skinwalkers. Good times, good story. I would say I have like that royalty free music, so like I spent probably a good hour just trying to find good music for the video, so it's always fun.
Couldn't just type in Skinwalker music and no good result.
Yeah, no good results for Skinwalker. But I tried spooky, scary, and that popped up some good results on pandemic or epidemic sound is what it was called.
Well, you got 2/3 of Spooky Scary Skeleton.
Right. I definitely think that song's copyrighted. Definitely think that's copyrighted. And I don't have the money for the licensing for that shit. So
Copyright, more like copy left, as in I copy left them on red.
yeah, that's what I'm gonna say when they send a cease and desist. Copy left and right, bitch. Hey.
What are they gonna
Um,
do? Sue me? I don't have money.
well, maybe they won't sue you, but they'll sue me.
Oh, as if you have that much money.
I mean, I don't have that much money, but I have assets that they could take.
What, your Skinwalker dog?
Yeah, for real. Yeah, for people who don't know, my dog, I mean, I love my dog to death, but man, he's so weird. Like, we're just waiting for the day that he starts talking to us because he's like actually a skinwalker. Salsa can corroborate that as well. He's been here with my dog and he's very strange.
He's something, all right. He walks weird. I don't know. It's like he doesn't know how to be a dog.
Right.
Like a dog, you can throw a stick, they'll chase it. This being, you throw a stick and he'll look at you as if you just killed his family.
He'll be very scared, that's for sure. If you throw anything, he's scared.
Dude gets scared when he goes to poop and grass touches his butt.
Yeah. No, he hates the wind and he hates like anything touching him while he's trying to use the bathroom. I can't remember what it was the other day. But like, oh, we were outside and it was like windy. It was about to storm, and so he was outside and he was running around, trying to find a place to go potty. But like a gust of wind would come and it would like scare the shit out of him, and then he would go ass to the ground and like run around until the wind stopped.
Normal
He's
dog behavior.
right, yeah, completely normal, completely normal. Oh Lord, but he's a fun dog. I love him, but man, he sometimes is just such a fucking weird animal. Probably a skinwalker, but the world will never know.
I remember when I was over there, he did this weird thing where I got him to lay down next to me, which was already unheard of. Dude never wants to lay down next to me. If I get him laid down, he's curled up, sleeping, and I gently pet him. He slowly raises his head, looks at me, bares his teeth, and starts growling.
Yeah.
And I'm like, "What's wrong?" And I go to pet him again, and the fucker bites me.
If he's sleeping, you just can't fuck with him. If he's sleeping, you just gotta let him be, because like once he finally like gets comfortable enough to like go to sleep, like he gets so angry if you wake him up.
Oh, and he's got some primal shit going on in that head of his.
He really does. Like I don't know. Like honestly, it's for I guess I don't know if I've ever talked about this before, but my dog, for people who don't know, we were his fifth home in the first 8 months of his life. So we are actually like pretty much 99% sure that he came from a Amish puppy mill, because the people that we got him from, their mom had him before them, and then the mom got them from someone else, and that someone else got them from the puppy mill. So puppy mill to person one. Person one basically just couldn't take care of him, so gave him to person two. Person two, which was the mom, basically worked all the time, so again couldn't take care of him, gave him to person three. And obviously, I have no ill will towards person three, because if I don't know if they watch my podcast or listen to this at all, but basically they're like, we're like, what's his feeding schedule like? And they're just like, oh, he just eats whenever. I was like, I mean, okay. I was like, and I was like, does he have any shots? He didn't have any shots yet. He does have fleas. Does your dog have fleas? Well, no, but good to know, I guess. Let's see. And then in addition to that, like, he was just really skittish and scared, and like he was really unsure about a lot of things. So yeah, so we took him in. We were his fifth home, and yeah, 8 months of his life, we were his fifth home, and we've been his forever home ever since. We've had him for like 5 years, 4 years. So, but
He's
yeah,
had more owners than like a haunted lamp.
honestly, he really has. Like, he's been shuffled through so many fucking people, and like we know that's the reason why he's got issues. But it's at this juncture now where we just have to really be patient with him, because it's like it's hard to unlearn those issues, especially when they're an older dog. So it's like, he's already been he's basically his life for basically the first year of his life has been really shitty. So he's really ingrained in himself some really bad behaviors that we've tried to get him to unlearn. But it's really hard to unlearn those behaviors when you've had to act in such a way for that long.
Got to be real patient with him because you're afraid at nights he's gonna skinwalker his way out of his crate, and climb into bed with you.
Honestly, dude. But no, he can't. He cannot sleep in a bed with people, because I love him to death, but like when he sleeps next to you, he has to be literally up in your shit. Like, I mean, touching you 24/7. He likes to be like touched like by you, but only if he's sleeping, and only if you were touching him prior to him sleeping. Like, if you were holding on to him while he was sleeping, that's fine, as long as you're continuing to hold on to him from when he was sleeping.
Dude likes nuts to butt, but the minute you introduce something else to the equation, you're fucked.
Correct.
I get it.
Correct. But yeah, so yeah, he's a weird dog. He's a very weird dog. But
What can you
anywho,
do?
right? Yeah, what can you do? Just be patient, and hopefully one day he unlearns some of that bullshit behavior. But I love him. He's a good dog most of the time. But anywho, right. So to talk a little bit more about some pop culture stuff. So last time we were very encompassed by talking about Salsa's House of Horrors. That's literally haunted, and so we right, yeah, unironically haunted. Who does that? But so last time we talked about that. This time we've talked about the channel Skinwalkers, my dog, and now we're going to talk about something that's actually happening in pop culture. So for people who have been living under a rock, if you didn't know, Scarlett Johansson recently had a lawsuit against Disney for Disney very blatantly and obviously violating their contract with Scarlett Johansson.
Well, I'm not going to get into the real technicalities of like the legal aspects of it, but from a lawyer's perspective, not mine. This is from a real lawyer. Technically, what they did does not violate the contract, but it violates the intention of the contract, which is a different matter altogether. Still technically means they owe her compensation, but
Right.
it's not the same as saying I'll give you $100 for X product and then not do it.
Right. Because for people who don't know, the issue that arose was they basically had a contract to say that we're going to do. Obviously, correct me if I'm wrong, but if I remember correctly, the contract that they had with her was for the release of the Black Widow film,
Theatrical release.
the theatrical release of the Black Widow film, and they also released Black Widow same day on Disney Plus for their premiere service or whatever.
Yeah.
But she's not entitled to any of the revenue from the Disney Plus service. Is that what the issue was?
Yes, because a theatrical release technically does not include digital release.
Right.
So there's a few different moving parts. One is this movie was supposed to come out during Phase 2, long ago, before even Civil War. No,
Right.
right after Civil War.
Yeah.
But it didn't. They waited until during the pandemic. So already that screwed her out of a ton of money. But on top of that, if they did not release it digitally as well, they were going to be operating at a loss. But they decided not to renegotiate the contract to include digital release. So no matter what, she was getting screwed. And like I said, they didn't violate the contract. They violated the intent of the contract, which
Right.
she could have a case for. She could get big compensation, as she
Right.
should.
Right. Yeah, and that's what I agree with too, because I don't know, man. It's one of those things where it's like, kind of like you said, it's definitely a sticky situation. But I think at the end of the day, the fact still remains is that they're that they're being scummy. I mean,
It's Disney. We all saw that coming.
right. And so that's basically my thought process is like, they're being scummy. They know what they're doing. Like, they can't act like they're like, oh, this was just a simple mistake. No, they knew exactly what they were doing. They knew exactly what they were doing. They did the release anyways, didn't consult with her or any of the bullshit that goes into that part of it. No negotiations were done. And then, of course, they sued her. Now, here's the thing that I have an issue with before we move too far on, is that people are like, oh my God, she's such a money whore. Oh my God, she's really going to dispute over it, because it was like, I don't even know how much. It was like $50 million or some amount of money. I don't know the exact amount. But like, there are people that are like commenting on these things like, oh my God, she has so much money, and then she's really going to cause an issue over this amount of money. Like that amount of like millions of dollars isn't something that, I would kill somebody for. Like,
Don't get me wrong. I absolutely think the rich need to be taxed more because too many rich people are getting away with not, paying their fair share.
right.
But at the same time, she did the work and was entitled legally to that money. So
Exactly.
you can say, oh, no one deserves to make that much money for so little work. But legally, she earns the money. So fuck off.
Right. Yeah. Basically, just go suck a dick. Like, honestly, at this point, like,
Chomp a chode.
and that's what I saw like a lot of people saying. They're like, look, dude, like, if you were in her shoes, you would be doing the exact same thing. Like, if you or I were entitled to compensation because of whatever process or system that was set up, like, it's like saying, I get paid bi-weekly from my employer for working 40 hours a week, right? I clock in, I clock out. That's what my contract says for me to do. It would basically be like them saying, hey, we actually need you to work overtime and do this, but we're going to pay you for that, and then withholding that pay. Obviously, it's a very poor, analogy, but it's essentially how that works. I mean, like, think about it from the perspective of, what if your employer basically made an adjustment to your workload, or made an adjustment to your contract without consulting with you, essentially, or made a adjustment to the work area, and then was just like, yeah, we're not going to compensate you for that. It's like,
You're right. That is a real thing that does happen. It's called stolen wages, I believe.
yep, it is a thing.
And it is highly unethical, immoral, but people get away with it because they work the system in such a way that the government, or at least the legal system, has no countermeasure, so to speak of. so that you can take it to courts, but you're probably going to lose more money in the process.
Exactly.
And that's
And it's
exactly what Disney's trying to do.
exactly. And then out of all of this, right? So Disney does their thing. Scarlett Johansson's like, okay, this is some bullshit. I need my money. Sues them, and then Disney's just like, yeah, we're not gonna, we're not gonna be making any more movies with Scarlett Johansson. Like acting
I
like
mean,
they're. Go ahead.
well, why would they, even if this didn't happen?
That's exactly what I was gonna say. It's like, Homegirl is dead, like dead in these movies, unless they were planning on trying to bring her back to life with all this multiverse bullshit. So unless
Could
they
see
were
that.
yeah, I could see that too. I mean, I people do shit like that. So I'm thinking to myself, okay, so I mean, why would they make movies with her anyways? You know what I mean? Like she wasn't contracted to do any more movies. This Black Widow movie was supposed to be her last one, as far as I was concerned. And then in addition to that, I guess DC's been reaching out to Scarlett Johansson, and a lot of people think that DC may replace Amber Heard as Hera or whatever the fuck her name is, and Aquaman with Scarlett Johansson.
That's tough. On one hand, I do think she could easily replace Amber Heard in that situation. I also agree Amber Heard needs to be removed from that situation.
Right.
But at the same time, that is a real downgrade for Scarlett Johansson.
Well, to an extent, because here's the deal: they're also looking at casting her as like other characters, more prominent characters, but they are in talks to get her like under contract somehow, which I think is fine. I think it'd be great for her to get another superhero contract because she does really well in superhero movies. So, I mean, you know what I mean?
I, I have hope, because as you've probably watched it by now, the new Suicide Squad.
Oh yeah, 100%.
You can attest that it is a massive improvement on the uh how do I put this? Failed abortion that was the last one.
Here's what I'm going to say because I do agree, 100%. I agree. Here's what I'm going to say. Warner Brothers is literally like cancer, and like they attach to something and they erode at it until it's barely nothing. A, B, had they not done that to the original Suicide Squad, it would have been a much better movie. So I just want to point that out, that the movie that we got was absolute dog shit, but it could have been better had Warner Brothers not put their fucking hands in it. But James Gunn stepped up and made a movie that, in my opinion, rivals many of Marvel movies. I mean, literally, Peacemaker is probably one of the greatest people, like characters that I've ever seen in a show. And John Cena so accurately portrays Peacemaker, like it is absolutely insane.
I, I would say I won't say that it could rival the best of Marvel. It
Yeah,
it could almost be comparable to its contemporary, which is Guardians of the Galaxy.
right.
I do think, like you said, John Cena, perfect casting choice for Peacemaker. Literally, he is the Marine, the good guy, the hero.
Right.
But I mean, overall, like I said, great movie. James Gunn brought life to I'm not going to say a failing sector of the industry. I definitely think DC has had it rough, Like you said, Warner Brothers has been eating away at their creativity.
Yeah.
But the problem is, even when they try to rectify their mistakes, like with the Snyder Cut, better than the original, but still had a lot of issues. It still, how do I put this? It fell short of the worst of Marvel. And don't get me wrong, it's not really fair to compare the two because Marvel is more lighthearted and more about heroics, whereas DC is more about the gritty underbelly of heroism. So it's not really a fair comparison, but at the same time, yeah, without James Gunn doing this movie, I definitely think DC was dead in the water. No one was looking forward to whatever else they had to put up next.
Although I will say there is a lot of hope for the next Batman movie. The
With Michael Keaton.
no, that's the Flash movie. So there's a Batman movie coming out with Robert Pattinson. It's called The Batman.
Oh yeah,
It's fuck, who is it? Not Christopher Reeves, not George Reeves. It's something Reeves that is directing it, and basically,
Michael Reeves.
not fucking Michael Reeves, not the guy from YouTube. What the hell?
He'd make a good movie though.
I'm gonna look real quick. So The Batman. So it's scheduled for 2022. But I mean, it has a very, very nice cast. It's scheduled for March 4th, 2022. Matt Reeves is who's directing it. But we have Robert Pattinson's Batman, Colin Farrell as Oswald Cobblepot, Andy Serkis as Alfred Pennyworth, Paul Dano is playing the Riddler. So I mean, we actually have like a pretty solid lineup for the casting and everything else. And this is supposed to be.
I have hope. I definitely want this to be a good Batman movie because DCU fucked up by not having a Batman movie before their team up movie.
I mean, technically they did. It's just.
Well, what Batman movie did they have before the team up movie?
Batman versus Superman.
But that's not a Batman movie. That's a Batman Superman team up movie.
Well, it was
it's
supposed
technically
to be
a versus movie, but the fact that it doesn't end with one of them killing the other.
I mean, it has one of them dying. But, okay, the point being is that I agree.
They do what, huh?
I understand what you're saying, but at the same juncture, while I agree that they could have done a little bit more legwork before doing the Justice League, I think that the amount of work that would have been needed in order to establish it was not something that they were able to accomplish right away. I feel like they were trying to do too much too quick. I do agree with that. I think that had they released the Snyder Cut, or at least some variation of the Snyder Cut, rather than what they had released, it would have made more sense that they released it the way they did. But regardless, I agree. I think that it would have been wonderful to have some kind of prelude, if you will, to the Justice League, because obviously the Avengers had, a dozen movies before the first Avengers movie.
And all I'm really saying is, if you walked into the Avengers without watching any of the movies that came before it, that, set up the story leading into it, as well as who these characters are, then you'd be like, wow, this is a shitty movie. I have no emotional investment in any of these characters unless I know them from the comic. Which is frankly how I felt, because I did not read Batman or Superman. I thought they were kind of boring as comics.
I disagree with the statement about Batman because, the new Batman comics have been really good. From 2013 to present, the Batman comics have made sort of a renaissance.
But which one?
All of them. They've gone through so many different, character arcs and stories and everything else that, it's just, honestly, it's been great. Court of the Owls, Death of the Family.
Don't get me wrong. I liked Red Hood and the Outlaws. Even the Teen Titans, the newer one.
Did you even read any of the Batman books, like Batman?
I tried. What's it called? Batman Incorporated.
That's completely separate. Completely separate.
It's a Batman comic and a modern one.
Oh my god. Okay, so you're gonna. I'm not gonna have the argument with you, but all of the modern the contemporary Batman storylines that have done well have been in the main books. Ergo, Death of the Family, Court of the Owls. I will say that Batman Incorporated was good, I'm not sure why you didn't like it per se, but Batman Incorporated was good. Had the death of Damian Wayne, which was good. Had a good story arc for that, and yeah, I mean, again,
Read a bit of
just
that one. Was there one called like Detective Comics or something?
that's the original Batman books. Yeah,
Because, like I said, having worked in a comic shop, I tried to read as many of them as I could. Like, I didn't care for Batgirl. I didn't care for Nightwing. Red Wing was eh.
Red Wing.
And
I mean,
Red Robin, that's it.
Red Robin. Yeah, I was gonna say that's the Tim Drake book.
Sorry, Red Wing sounds better because it doesn't sound like a burger joint.
He's been called Red Robin, I'm pretty sure, before Red Robin was even invented.
Well, now I'm gonna Google that because Red Robin comic origin. Uh, First appearance, Kingdom Come. Wait, where was it? 1996 was his first appearance. No, fuck, not Red. Fuck. I cannot type. I am Red Robin. Red Robin restaurants. Yeah, just Wikipedia. I really am taking a lot of time to look this up out of curiosity.
It looks like it was like 1970. So okay, maybe it was before. But
Ooh,
regardless,
looks like the original Red Robin was founded in Seattle, Washington in 1940.
yeah, but Red Robin.
These dudes existed at the same time as Hitler.
So, but Red Robin, like the actual Red Robin restaurant, wasn't until the 70s, 69 actually, because I don't think it was called Red Robin to begin with.
Let's see.
It was first called
Um,
Sam's Tavern.
it doesn't say when he changed it to Red Robin.
In 1969,
No,
local Seattle restaurant entrepreneur Jerry or Gary Kingen bought the restaurant, expanded it. The business dropped the Sam's and became Red Robin.
but before that point, it was Sam's Red Robin. It just doesn't say when it became Sam's Red Robin.
No, probably sometime between 1940 and 1969.
Well, that's a lot of fucking years.
So we'll just say 1969 is when they specifically called it Red Robin.
Yeah,
I
you're
mean,
just saying that because you like the number 69.
maybe. Regardless, regardless of all of that, he's called Red Robin for a reason. I mean, it is what
He
it is.
loves burgers.
I mean, I do like Red Robin. Red Robin's got some good burgers, man.
No, I was talking about Tim Drake.
I mean, Tim Drake's a perfectly fine character. He's not my favorite Robin. I think Dick Grayson will always be my favorite Robin, but
Dick Grayson, Jason Todd, top two right there.
I here's the deal. I didn't like Jason Todd as Robin. Jason Todd was just kind of a mediocre Robin.
Yeah, he
Honestly,
needed to die before he became good.
well, he died and then he went to the Lazarus pit and came out jaded and became the Red Hood.
Yeah, which is what I like about him because he absolutely was well within his right to be pissed off with Batman. And I think I don't know, it was a good twist for the story. And that's why I like Red Robin's character. That
Right.
and in his modern incarnation, he's just a dude who's pissed off, who works as basically a mercenary, traveling the world with what was Green Arrow's no, not Green Arrow.
Red Arrow.
Yeah, Red Arrow. What was Red Arrow's sidekick
Roy Hart.
name?
Roy Harper was his name. Arsenal.
Yeah, Arsenal, that's it. Arsenal and
Starfire.
Starfire, that's it.
I don't think they do Red Hood and the Outlaws anymore. I think that book ended a while ago.
Yeah, probably. I liked it, but he was kind of not antithetical to the Batman story, but I don't know. It's kind of hard to sell a more that kind of. comic when your
Right.
main character is such a do-gooder like Batman.
I mean, do-gooder still causes irreparable damage.
I mean, don't get me wrong, absolutely a lying piece of shit when he says, "Oh, I don't kill," but then beats the fuck out of someone until they're unconscious, lying in the snow. That dude's dying from hemorrhaging and frostbite.
But Batman didn't kill him.
I didn't kill him. It was nature.
Right. Nature did the work for me.
Damn, the snow got him.
I just clean up the streets. I don't care how it's done.
Oh man. But I mean my point is just that Batman's not a bad character. And I think a Batman movie would have been a good idea before they did a crossover. But at the same time, I did not care enough about Batman as a comic book character to actually be invested in Batman versus Superman.
I mean,
I could even say the same about the Avengers. I didn't give a shit about any of them until I watched their movies because as someone who read comic books, I wasn't reading mainstream Batman, Superman, Iron Man, stuff like that. I was just looking for stuff that was like Deadpool was the most mainstream I read. And even then, this was before the movies, so it wasn't as mainstream as it is now.
right. And okay, so here's the deal. Here's what I'll say. I agree. I think that they should have done a Batman story with Ben Affleck. I feel like he should have had his own standalone movie. And if I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure he was gonna have his own movie prior to the Batman versus Superman movies, but I'm pretty sure Warner Brothers scrapped it. I'm pretty sure he was because
Always Warner Brothers doing some dumb shit, huh?
honestly, I'm not even lying to you. Like, I agree with you. I feel like they should have had a Batman movie at least before Batman vs Superman. I feel like the Woman movie was timed correctly. I feel like the prequel type story is okay to have after the fact, but I definitely think that there should have been a Batman movie before because the Batman versus Superman, some of the scenes of the Batcave, it has like, the Robin costumes and like the defacing and the graffiti and stuff from, the Joker. So it's like, to an extent, I feel like they should have had some sort of, some sort of preface to that from the Batman versus Superman story in order for it to make sense.
Yeah, there's a lot there that they never expanded on. We don't know who Robin was. We've never seen him in action. We don't know
Right.
what happened to him other than he's presumably dead.
Right. He is presumed dead. I know that game theory, well, technically film theory, um, did a theory about how he thinks that Robin is the Joker, and they think it's Jason Todd, wasn't it, or Tim Drake?
I think they said Tim Drake because in Batman Beyond, Tim Drake became the
Right.
Joker.
Right. Yeah. In the Batman Beyond story verse, the Tim Drake Robin was kidnapped by Harley Quinn and Batman, and like you said, was basically tortured and like turned into a Joker. And then like years later, he like the Joker still kind of comes out because of like some kind of issue with his brain or something.
Yeah, something like that. It was a cartoon. They didn't take it too seriously.
Right. But it's honestly it's a good storyline. I feel like they could have definitely elaborated on it in this.
Oh yeah.
Um, but they didn't, of course. And then now we are at the precipice of the new Batman movie, the Batman with Robert Pattinson, which is going to be more of a year one type movie, where it sort of talks about his origins and basically his first years as Batman more than anything. And then
I
in it,
mean, apparently it's supposed to focus a lot on detective work, him being the world's greatest detective, and
right.
less on some dude who runs around in a bat costume breaking people's kneecaps and then saying, I don't kill people while they bleed out.
But and I think that the Flash movie is supposed to be sort of like a Flashpoint type movie, where there's going to be like some time travel of some kind, and Michael Keaton's Batman is supposed to be in that movie.
I'm hoping for the best of the DCU. I want them to succeed because we live in an age in which comic book movies are mainstream. They are considered almost worthy of Oscar nominations, like the Black Panther was.
Right.
So it's time that the DCU steps up to the plate and joins Marvel on the front line instead of, because right now it's this weird dynamic where Marvel is the front line of comic book movies. DC is playing basically support. They're in the back producing movies, but they're not really appealing to as wide of an audience or as positively to said audience. But they're still
Right. Oh, you still there, Salsa? Salsa Shark, do you read me? Hello, hello, hello. Ground control to Major Salsa. So it looks like we've lost Salsa briefly, but until he gets back on, just to kind of sort of wrap up briefly as well, Salsa's got the right point. DC does need to step it up into the mainstream, because really DC has for a long time been a leader in comic books. Although Marvel has definitely done very similar to DC and has been trying to continuously create better comic books and better storylines. But for a long time after the revamping of DC with the New 52, DC was leading in that front for a significant portion of that time. But Marvel has always been so much better with movies, even the series that weren't mainstream, like the X-Men movies, the original X-Men movies, mind you, were still significantly better than the DC properties that we had. So Salsa's 100% right. DC needs to really step it up. Hopefully, with the movies that we have coming out, such as the Flash movie, such as the Batman movie, and all of the other IPs that we're looking at being created, hopefully we will see much bigger and better things from them, because right now we just don't have it. I'm going to check again here. Salsa, can you hear me? Do you read me? Well, all right then. So I think Salsa may have accidentally logged off. So I'll go ahead and close this out today, since Salsa basically fails. But it's been fun talking to you guys today. If you guys want to leave some comments down below, ask us some questions if you're curious about anything. We're going to do a 100 subscribers video once I see Salsa next. So definitely, to let us know some questions that you want answered. And we'll do that when we do that 100 subscribers video. But it's been a pleasure talking to you all. Stay safe, stay happy, stay healthy, stay awesome. We will see you in the next one. And as one of my favorite animes always closes out, see you next time, Space Cowboy.